Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who are teaching the truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakin that's out there on four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, Bracha Dum. So, out here another week teaching our people to repent, and that this place that's known in the scriptures as Babylon the Great, Basra also, and Sodom and Egypt, America, modern day called, is going to be destroyed in 1 hour by nuclear destruction, by the third woe that's coming quickly. And we can see it coming quickly as you're seeing that more and more these countries are becoming resistant to the Edomite Empire. They're, pretty much taking a proverb against Esau, and they are, speaking against Babylon and saying, no, we don't want the hegemony anymore. And even the European Union is backing out of a lot of things that they once partnered with America on, especially Germany. Now Germany's wanting to close down a lot of them bases and get, those terrorists out of there, because that's all America is. That's all they bring is terrorism. But you know as well as I do that the main military bases in the EU has always been Germany. I could even talk about my mom, who had spent a couple weeks in Germany, was stationed there at that base, and then other friends we knew at Traverse Air Force Base that were stationed there. Germany is most traveled to, especially for those that are doing 10 or more years in the Air Force. You're probably going to get stationed in Germany and in England and probably in Japan. If you do more, up to 20, my dad was, so yeah, I'm a military brat, so I kind of know how this thing works. But nonetheless, though, pretty much, man, they're just tired of America's hegemony. They're tired of America telling them what to do, and so pretty much America's being isolated to where these Zionists, these Amalekites are, their big threat and terror is starting to dwindle down, and now all these other countries are buying arms from Russia and are taking up arms. So, they're pretty much, they're ready. Iran is not going to very easily be defeated. They have Iraq's old Air Force, because during Desert Storm, when the Air Force had left, they flew into Iran, and Iran had kept that. As part of spoils of war, for the 8-year war that's waged upon them, they have Iraq's old military plan, so they have a good portion of military, and then not to mention, they always had a good trade with Russia. So, and I've seen some of their ground units. Their ground units are superior also to any of the U.S., so they wouldn't be able to get in there so easily. But what they are trying to do is stir things up in the Strait of Hormuz, and you're hearing a lot more about that, and that's the big thing, is that this whole Strait of Hormuz thing, Germany said, no, we're not going to back them. So even the strongest allies of America are turning against him. Gomer has turned against him, and both Gomer and the United States are stealing from Syria. They want that oil from Syria, and pretty much the United States is stealing all of it, but Gomer used to steal it, but now pretty much, though, what's happening, though, is that Gomer, has to protect their terrorists that are in the Idlib province. So, pretty much America had to come up with new terrorist groups, better known as the SDF. So, you got the American terrorists in Syria, and then you got Gomer and all his bands in Syria. And everybody's stealing from Syria. It's a free-for-all. Well, what do you think's happening over here in America? The same thing. It's become a free-for-all. The government is doing more and more false flags, and especially last year, the Car Fire. Now, pretty much, most of the population of Reading, even the other place where I taught, man, people are sleeping on the streets, everywhere, and these were nothing but thieves and liars, because they've been living on stolen land for so many years, but now this Car Fire came and ravished them in the same way that our places were taken. Paradise, which was on burial ground, man, that was totally wiped out, so these terrorists are now getting what they deserve, and they deserve every bit of it. So I'm going to read out of Lamentations chapter 4, because what's going to happen is Jacob's trouble is right around the corner, and a famine is coming. So, let's just read out of Lamentations chapter 4, because this is all coming. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter, So pretty much, man, we was prudent, but now we have fallen. Even the sea monsters draw out of the breast. They give suck to the young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. So, because 2/3 of our people, man, they don't want to hear this, man. They get offended if you even try to tell them that they're Israelites. The tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. So there's no food, there's no water. Look at what's happened in Detroit, man. Pretty much the city cut off their water, man, And what worse way, man? You ain't even got anything, your tongue, man. You can't even get water that way, Just trying to move your tongue up to try to get some saliva. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown in a moment, and no hand stayed on her. And pretty much, man, we're in the place of Sodom and Egypt spiritually now. Who actually promotes the sins of Sodom more so than our people, the 2/3? Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polish was of sapphire, So at one time, man, we were the sons of the living high, But now only the elect of us know who we are, and the others are going to stay in that dead state, The visage is blacker than coal. That's proven that we were dark-skinned people right there, And, but we are a speckled bird also. Keep that in mind, for the BOIs. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick, And that's just from starvation, man, Pretty soon there ain't going to be any food or water in all these places, man, because that's what they're planning on. And like I said, I see dumpsters in this town that are just empty over there. If you go over to Target, man, there's nothing but empty dumpsters everywhere. But there ain't a whole lot of garbage over at Target. No, they're getting ready for something. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for wants of the fruit of the field, So it's better to be stricken by the sword than it is to starve to death. But, like everything else, though, this is happening and going to happen. The hands of the pitiful woman had sodden their children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Most High hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and he hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. So pretty much, man, we're in this desolate place, man. This whole place is going to become a desolate wilderness, and one day, 1 hour that nobody expects it. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. And that happened in 70 AD. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, they have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. And that's talking about the elect of our people who were also slain, And they're the ones that are waking up now to this truth and coming out here and prophesying and telling the rest to repent. But 2/3 won't adhere to this. Only the elect are going to adhere to this. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They have cried unto them, Depart, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, They shall no more sojourn there. The anger of the Most High hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. And that's kind of what's happening now too, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone have been teaching this truth for quite some time, but man, people don't want to adhere to them. People don't want to respect them. No, only the elect are going to. They're going to know that those are the men of the Most High. But when the famine and the pestilences come, then they'll want to hear. But by that time, it'll be a wrap. Especially once they get us off YouTube, with these more false flags saying that these people are BIO, or BIE, Black Identity Extremists, which we don't claim to be Black Identity Extremists. No, the only group that really does that is ISUPK. Oh, and the Sakari wanted to be called that too. So we're not even with those assholes, because those assholes are going to get our people killed. But then again, I can see why, this has to be. 2/3 of our people have to die anyways, so that the 1/3 could be saved. It makes total sense. There has to be a cleansing somewhere, The house cleaning begins in the house of Yasharahla, the house of David first. And then the rest of the world, because we have to teach the rest of the world, But first, there has to be house cleaning here. So I hope all this has been edifying, and like everything else, though, man, go out and proclaim this. If you've been in this truth 6 months or longer, while you still can, while you still have it, get it while you still can. Because they are coming after us, and they are coming after the internet. Trump wants to pull the plug, because, of course, this truth is out there. And Christianity, man, that's been confounded, so they have no hope, and they know that. Esau's a wounded animal, just look at everything. So, hope all this has been edifying. For that, I want to say Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Rakal Kadash, Wa Abba Babal, Barak Atham, the helpful elect.